The wind howled across the frozen wasteland of Theta 7, a planet where survival meant understanding that nature wanted you dead. Marcus Grant had understood this for the 3 years he had been stationed at the remote mining outpost, watching ice storms tear across the barren landscape like vengeful gods. He was heading back from checking the perimeter sensors when he saw the shape half buried in the SNOWDRIFT dot at first. He thought it was debris from the recent transport crash reported 2 sectors away. Then the shape moved. Marcus ran, his thermal suit crunching through the knee-deep snow. When he reached the figure, his breath caught. She was not human. Her skin held a faint blue luminescence beneath the layer of frost, and her frame was too slight, too delicate for this brutal world. She wore the remnants of what might have been a flight suit, torn and inadequate. Her eyes fluttered open as he knelt beside her, revealing pupils that were vertical slits surrounded by silver irises. "Please," she whispered, the word barely forming on lips that had turned dark with frostbite. Her universal translator flickered weakly at her throat. "Leave me." "Storm comes." Marcus looked at the horizon. The sky had turned the particular shade of green-gray that meant a blizzard was forming. Not just any blizzard, but one of the monsters that could last for days and bury entire installations. He had maybe 40 minutes before it hit. His outpost was 3 days away on foot. His transport had broken down 6 hours into his patrol, and the replacement parts would not arrive for a week. The rescue team could not fly in this weather. "Can you walk?" he asked. She tried to rise and collapsed. Her leg bent at an angle that made Marcus wince. Broken, badly. She would not be walking anywhere. Doc Marcus did the calculation in his head. His supplies could stretch for maybe 5 days if he was careful. The storm would slow him down. She was injured and would need his thermal blanket. The logical choice was clear. Call it in, mark her position, and let the rescue team recover her body after the storm passed. He picked her up instead. She weighed less than he expected, her body temperature so low that even through his gloves he could feel the chill. She tried to protest, her translator crackling. "Human, this is foolish. You cannot carry me through a storm. I am dying. Save yourself." "Shut up and conserve your energy," Marcus said, adjusting her weight across his shoulders. "I have carried heavier packs through worse." This was a lie. He had never carried anything this heavy through anything this bad. But humans had a particular talent for lying to themselves about their limitations, right up until they exceeded them. The storm hit 30 minutes later. Marcus had managed to cover perhaps 2 kilometers. The wind struck like a physical blow, nearly knocking him off his feet. Snow flew horizontally, turning the world into a white void where up and down lost meaning. His suit's navigation system flickered, struggling against the electromagnetic interference the storm generated. The alien woman had stopped protesting. She had told him her name, Lyra, and that she was a courier whose ship had been caught in Theta 7's orbital debris field. She had ejected, and her pod had malfunctioned. She had been in the snow for hours before he found her. "Why are you doing this?" she asked during a moment when the wind died slightly. "Your species has no treaty with mine. You owe me nothing." Marcus did not have a good answer. The outpost psychologist would probably say something about his hero, complex or his need to prove himself after washing out of the military. The truth was simpler and more complicated. "Because I found you," he said finally. "That makes you my responsibility." She was quiet after that dot. The first day was the worst. Marcus fell 7 times. Each time, he forced himself back to his feet, adjusted Lyra's weight, and kept walking. His legs screamed. His back felt like it was breaking. The cold crept through his thermal suit's heating elements, finding the gaps and settling into his bones. During a brief respite when the wind calmed, he set up his emergency shelter, little more than a reflective sheet anchored to ice screws. They huddled together for warmth. Lyra's body temperature had risen slightly, though she remained dangerously cold. "You are insane," she murmured. "My people have a word for this kind of behavior. It translates roughly to beautiful stupidity." "Sounds about right," Marcus agreed. He checked his supplies. The storm had cost him more than expected. His water recycler was working overtime. His food bars were rationing themselves automatically. "I have seen humans before," Lyra continued. Her voice was stronger now, though pain still edged every word. "At trade stations, at diplomatic functions. They always seemed so practical, so concerned with profit and advantage. You are not like them." "Most humans are not like that," Marcus said. "We just let the ones who are do most of the talking." The second day, Marcus discovered that his left boot had torn. Snow got inside, melting against his heated sock and then freezing again. Each step became agony, his toes screaming with the early signs of frostbite. He did not tell Lyra. There was no point that the storm showed no signs of stopping. His navigation system had given up entirely. He was moving by dead reckoning now, hoping he was still heading in the right direction. If he missed the outpost by even a kilometer, they would walk past it and never know until they died of exposure. Lyra drifted in and out of consciousness. During her lucid moments, she talked. She told him about her homeworld, a place where water fell from the sky in a gentle mist rather than as knife-sharp snow. She told him about her family, about the cargo she had been carrying, about the promotion she would miss if she lived. "When I am recovered," she said, "I will tell everyone about this. About you. Humans will be known for this kindness." "One human," Marcus corrected. "Do not judge the whole species by me. We are capable of much worse than this, and much better." It seems. The third day, Marcus fell and could not get up. He lay in the snow. Lyra still held against his chest and felt his body finally refuse his commands. His legs would not respond. His arms shook with exhaustion. The storm raged around them, indifferent to his struggle. "Leave me," Lyra said. "Please, you can make it if you go alone. Tell my family what happened. That is enough." Marcus laughed, a sound bitter in his throat. "Can't. Already carried you this far. Be ashamed to waste the effort." He thought of his sister, who had called him stubborn even when they were children. He thought of his father, who had taught him that giving up was not in their family's vocabulary. He thought of every stupid, pointless moment of suffering he had endured in his life and decided that this one, at least, meant something. He stood up. His body moved on something beyond will, beyond determination. It moved on the fundamental human refusal to accept the universe's indifference. He took one step, then another. Each movement was a small victory against entropy. The storm broke on the horizon just as the sun set on the third day. Through the clearing snow, Marcus saw lights. The outpost sprawled across the ice, its thermal barriers glowing orange against the darkness. He walked through the main gate and collapsed. The medical team found them. 30 seconds later, they rushed Lyra to the xenobiology bay, where the equipment could handle non-human physiology. They carried Marcus to the clinic, where the doctor swore at him for his frostbitten toes and hypothermic core temperature. "You stupid, brave fool," the doctor muttered, working to save his toes. "You could have died." "But I did not," Marcus replied. Lyra recovered over the next 2 weeks. Her leg required surgery, but the doctors were optimistic. She would walk again, fly again, carry cargo across the stars again. She visited Marcus in his room once she could move. She stood at the foot of his bed, her silver eyes studying him with an intensity that made him uncomfortable. "I have sent word to my people," she said. "They want to meet you, to honor you. You saved not just me, but the cargo I carried. medical supplies for a colony suffering plague. Hundreds will live because of what you did. Marcus had not known about the cargo. The knowledge sat heavy in his chest. I just did what anyone would do, he said. No, Lyra replied firmly. You did what humans do. I have studied your history since awakening. This pattern repeats. Running into fire to save strangers. Diving into water to rescue the drowning. Carrying wounded soldiers for miles. Your species has a word for this too. Heroism. Or stupidity, Marcus said. Perhaps they are the same thing, Lyra smiled. Perhaps that is why the galaxy needs humans. To remind us that survival is not enough. That how we survive matters. She left him with those words. Marcus stared out his window at the frozen landscape of Theta 7, at the snow that had nearly killed them both. He thought about the 3 days in the blizzard, about the moment he had chosen to pick up a dying alien rather than save himself. He would make the same choice again. That was the thing about humans. They were capable of such cruelty, such violence, such indifference. But they were also capable of this, carrying a stranger through a storm, simply because it was the right thing to do. In the end, perhaps that was what humanity for you meant. Not that humans were perfect or even good, but that when the universe demanded you abandon compassion for survival, humans had a stubborn habit of choosing both.